Hello everyone, welcome back to the Yellow City Rundown for the week of December 8th through the 12th. Let's get into our top stories of the week. So we have some updates regarding Fermi America, and WT and the Panhandle Plains Historical Museum has decided to separate ties. We look into what's happening with the Potter County Detention Center, and we have some updates regarding the Wonderland lease agreement. So our first story this week is more of a update for Fermi America. We had some big stories this week out of the AI data center category this week. One of the first ones is that they made an electrical service agreement with Xcel for one of their subsidiaries to provide up to 200 megawatts of electrical capacity. The other one actually happened today. They lost a $150 million construction agreement after the exclusivity period expired with the first tenant at midnight on December 9th. We have full statements, and also we have full explanations of what these two things mean on myhighplains.com, specifically in our Emerald Data Center category, for those who would like to look at that. Our second story is looking at WT and PPHM. They decided to split ties. Panhandle Plains Historical Society announced that it will be reevaluating its association with the university and also the university system. They're looking into new agreements with other entities and organizations. They haven't really stated which organizations or entities those are. However, they also are looking into a location to temporarily store artifacts. But however, for now, the artifacts are safe on the building on WT's campus. WT and TMU noted in their statements that they could no longer provide funding or resources for the museum's building needs. As you know, that they weren't up to fire code and required extensive repairs. Let's look at a clip from one of our evening newscasts over this entire how it went down and how they came to this decision.
A 93-year partnership comes to an end as West Texas A&M University and the Texas A&M system notify Panhandle Plains Historical Museum they are unable to provide long-term funding for the building. Thank you for joining us. Clint has the evening off. What's happening next for PPHM is first on Fox Tonight. Months ago, WT President Walter Wendler temporarily closed Panhandle Plains Historical Museum, citing ongoing safety issues. In a statement released today, WT officials say they've spent over $1 million to maintain PPHM, saying in part, quote, "Without external funding, the university does not have the resources to renovate or build a new museum facility that protects the public's health, safety, and welfare." Panhandle Plains Historical Society trustee Mark White sharing they know the building has problems and isn't safe to operate as a museum because it hasn't been maintained as required over the years, adding although the partnership is over, they are excited for the future.
We are actively looking for another safe storage space. We have lots of options.
White says as soon as they can get a new museum location, they'll be open for business as usual.
So what the community can do right now for us, of course, is we need their advocacy. We need their support, monetary support, but more than anything, we need them to have confidence that the board of the society is going to get this museum open again.
In the future, White says the community can expect a fundraising campaign to help get things going, saying although this door has closed, it was necessary and opened the doors for other good possibilities.
The next step after today is that we are setting meetings with other entities and institutions to talk about a long-term partnership with the museum.
White says the museum staff will remain employed as they are paid by the Panhandle Plains Historical Society, adding that the artifacts are still being housed on WT's campus, but they are working to find a new storage location. To see our continuing coverage of PPHM and full interview in St.
That was a great clip from one of our evening newscasts. You can take a look at their full statements from WT statement to the TMU statement about the split, and also what the plans are next for the Panhandle Plains Historical Society. Moving into our next story, the Potter County Commissioners Court got an update this week on the Potter County Detention Center, and they are presented with 3 options about what they could do to fix the overcrowding in the jail. They could either expand the jail, do nothing, or they can construct an entirely new jail. John Coffey, Potter County Commissioner of Precinct 3, said that they needed to look at everything before they considered anything. We have full explanations of what those options mean on myhighplains.com. But right now, we can look at a short clip from one of our evening newscasts about this whole situation.
An update on the Potter County Detention Center and how the county can fix the overcrowding. Thanks for joining us. Maya and Clint both have the evening off. The latest on that story is first on Fox Tonight as a part of our Democracy 2025 coverage. Potter County Commissioners were presented with different options when it came to moving forward on the jail and what impact of each would be. That would include do nothing, expand the current jail, and construct a new jail. If the commissioners were to do nothing, this would require the continued housing of inmates out of the county. Currently, that cost exceeds $1 million per year. That does not include transportation and medical. If they expand the current jail, they are limited to 96 to 144 beds. Addition to the jail based on the physical space requirements, it will take 2.5 years to execute into a probable cause of $47 million. If they construct a new jail, it is recommended that there should be a total of 672 beds with further consideration for 720 beds. To construct a jail of 672 beds, it will take 4 years and at a probable cause of $202 million.
Prefer a new one. We need new because, as you know, crime's not going to go down. It's never going to. It's only going to get worse. After I'm dead and gone, it's still going to get worse. So I think building a new one would be smart and wise and conducive to the taxpayer.
Tanner says they'll probably have a decision pretty soon. She says probably in the next 3 to 6 months on how to move forward.
That was a good clip from one of our evening newscasts. And you can look at full explanations for all those options that they're considering on myhighplains.com. Moving on to our next story, we got some updates about the Wonderland lease agreement. The current owners have decided to sell the park because of age and health, and their daughter, Rebecca Parker, is hoping her parents now will have some peace. So in the lease agreement, they say that it's to include an initial term of 15 years with options to renew twice. The initial term the city will receive $130,000, and if also future options are exercised, there's a total revenue of $430,000 to be made. Let's look at a short clip from one of our evening newscasts about this entire thing and also what it can mean for Wonderland in the future.
On Tuesday, Amarillo City Council approved a lease agreement for Wonderland Park in a 5-0 vote. Thank you for joining us this evening. Clint has the night off. With the agreement, the Borghardt family will release ownership to 360 Parks Amarillo LLC. That's part of our Democracy 2025 coverage, first on Fox Tonight.
The park department manager he said, why don't you set up some rides and we'll do a percentage rent for you. And that's how it started in 1951.
74 years later, the Borghardt family is passing the torch. According to city officials and the agreement, the city will receive $130,000 in revenue in the initial 15 years, with the chance to renew after the initial lease agreement, meaning the city could earn $430,000 in total revenue. For the Borghardts, finding the right people to take over was a top priority.
They wanted to preserve this attitude that we have. We have a very limited market of 200,000 people, but we cover an area that's around 300 square miles. So we have something that's unique.
Rebecca Parker, Borghardt's daughter and the park's controller and secretary, grew up with Wonderland and says this sale wouldn't have been possible without the community's support.
We started with 3 rides and have 32 now. We wouldn't have been attractive to a buyer if the community hadn't helped and supported us all this time.
A key reason for the sale is because Paul and Paula are aging. The family hopes this sale will allow them to spend more time with family in peace.
Able to do things with their grandchildren and great-grandchildren that they haven't been able to do in the past.
Burkhart hopes that once the new owners take over, they'll continue Wonderland's mission.
Safety, maintenance, and providing the entertainment for the people.
Parker anticipates that she'll stay on for a little to help with the transition. Burkhart says although they are older, what's kept him young is the people coming through.
And that was a good clip from our evening newscast. We do have a full story on myhighplains.com about all the details regarding Wonderland in this lease agreement. However, all of the stories that I've mentioned today so far can be found in the main Yellow City Rundown story, so that way you can quickly link to it. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the break. We are going to be looking into some fun things now. We have our Panhandle Planner, and we also have our Route 66 Rundown left to do. So we have some fun things on our Panhandle Planner this week. The 51st Nutcracker is this weekend. It's running tonight and then tomorrow and Sunday. We have a full story on My Plains and lots of coverage regarding the Nutcracker and what it means this year. We also have the Northside Toy Drive giveaway, and it's set to take place from December 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Paladura High School Center Activity Center. We do not have an Emerald City Council meeting. Sorry about that. That is not supposed to be there. However, the Canyon Independent School District is set to officially hire the Canyon High School football coach this week for the remainder of the school year on Tuesday. We should have more information coming about that soon. On our Route 66 Rewind this week, we have a fun little silly news notes from the Amarillo Daily on December 12th, 1927. These little silly news notes were called Tri-State Press Breezes, and I'm assuming that they were meant to be like a funny news note to lighten the load of the current news going on. One of them was the Lubbock newspaper had reported that the United States had more hung juries than hung criminals. The Cloud News reported that few fathers give their daughters away at wedding ceremonies, specifically because they want to have the sons figure them out themselves. And then the Clovis News hoped that American congressmen had not heard about the Turkish dictator's 6-day speech. I'm assuming that because they don't want to endure a 6-day speech. What a funny little note there. For my weather watch from John Harris, we're looking at a pretty good range of temperatures depending on the location, where it's going to be generally nice and breezy. The 60s and 70s could return by Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So looking towards a pretty nice week before Christmas. And that's basically it for our Yellow City Rundown. We are looking at some other stories next week, and then we should have a Christmas episode, and then hopefully we should be in the new year. We have some good things coming up, including the Northside Tour Drive this weekend and Nutcracker. As always, you can pay attention to myhighplains.com for those different stories and different events, and also our Facebook pages and social media. We will see you next week. Have a great week.